Hello, hello, hello. I'm on live stream. Let me check. Let me check. Let me check, guys. Yeah. So, hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, we will reading for 30 minutes. The same corporate. Yeah. And we'll start this. Start reading for 30 minutes straight. And we left here and page number 47. So, let's start. You can see the timer here. So, yeah. Let's go. There is no interruption now. Yeah, it's working. Working. So let's start. Let's start, guys. Let's start. Being energetic before you start on any task, the first requirement is you should be optimistic. If you mix this attitude with the right amount of dynamism and energy, you are set for success. Why else do you think all the motivational speakers are so well received globally? It's their workshops that transform a person who is feeling low into an enthusiastic contributor to society. Chanakya outlines similar qualities in the Arthashastra as well: bravery, resentment, quickness, and dexterity. These are the qualities of energy. In one line, Chanakya tells us how, in addition to enthusiasm, energy is important too. He has gone into great detail to make us understand what energy means in the above verse. These points are also leadership qualities that should be developed by any person who aspires to be successful not only in corporate world but also in life. Bravery. Literally speaking, bravery means facing something frightening or unpleasant in a courageous way. A brave person is ready to face Life's, life is unpleasant events with a strong heart and tremendous willpower to carry on. He is ready to fight and win challenges and root his goal. This is also the most important quality of a Kshatriya, the warrior described by all Indian scriptures as well as the Arthashastra. Resentment. Resentment means anger, hatred, and yes, even bitterness. Now, this many sound negative. However, understand that being a little unsatisfied with our current status can push us towards achieving the bigger things in life. So be angry with yourself for thinking small, hate the low mental and vulgar values that we entertain, be bitter about the comfort zone we got into. Pushing yourself to the next level, this positive negativity adds the spice to life. Quickness. Time is an important ingredient for success. A person who aspires to be successful needs to be quick and fast while taking decisions. When a leader was once asked how to develop the skill of quick decision making and answer, he answered, be around people who are not afraid of making mistakes. So move on in life as quickly as you can. Dexterity. Here it means the ability to adapt and continue. It's best defined by the famous saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. We all start on a journey, but only few adapt to the changes and overcome problems. Swami Chinmayananda said there are three kinds of people first: those who do not start work because of the fear of obstacles. Second, those who start but stop when they face obstacles. And the third, those who work in spite of obstacles and overcome it. Now you decide which kind of person you are. 27th, what are the qualities of leader? Improve what you inherit. An entrepreneur was once told by his mentor, when you start a business, when you start a business, you will have to struggle a lot. The success you finally get will be enjoyed by your children, not you. Every generation benefits from the struggle of its precedents. However, thanks to the human mindset, we always tend to look for what was built incorrectly. rather than just was just built right. This is where the Chanakya comes in. In this case of inherited territory, he should cover up the father's defects and also display his virtues. Even Swami Chinmayananda had similar advice. Every generation has got two responsibility to correct the mistakes of the past and to create something for the future. But how do we apply this in our careers and families' lives? Look at the positive sides. When we inherit something like a car, we immediately think, oh, what an old car. I wish I could get a new one, but train your mind to look at the positive side. So what? It's better that having no car. Similarly, when you get an old computer to use as soon as you can join a new office, be thankful that at least there is a new computer for you to start working on. These steps will tune your mind to look at the bright side of what our elders provided without any effort. Understand what is missing with their limited vision or resources. Our elders gave you whatever you now have. Surely they must have wanted to give us something better, but their conditions must have been different. They miss the luxury that our generation can access with ease. If by chance our seniors did a mistake due to short sightedness, try to understand the reason instead of condemning them. Empathize but yourself in their shoes. Even in your company, you should study what is missing instead of blaming the management. Try to understand the reason behind the present circumstances and then try to improve the situations. Create something new with the change you are seeking. If something is not available, create it yourself. Put in some efforts and do not needful yourself and do the needful yourself. If you find that systems in your firm are not updated, study the technology yourself and apply them. Basically, you should convert your tendency to blame others into the tendency to be thankful. A young boy once told his father, your generation does not understand anything. You did not have mobiles, computers, or the internet. The dad replied, yes, it's true. So our generation created the mobiles and computers for you to use. Now let's see what you will create for your children. Oh, setting up an example, being an expert in political science and even statesmanship, Chanakya emphasized the importance of discipline in a governance system. However, he also knew that the ministers and the bureaucrats would have to follow the rules themselves. Therefore, Chanakya has said the administrator and the magistrate should first keep in check the heads of the departments and their subordinates. Let us see why this is necessary and how it applies to our offices and organizations. Discipline starts from the top. If you are the boss, you are the sole rule maker, but then you should be the first follower of any rule. One cannot create policies and just insist that others follow it. Discipline starts with you. When you become self disciplined, others tend to fall in line automatically. Leaders are followed. A leader's position is very critical and sensitive. Your subordinates do not just do what you say, they follow your every action. You are always observed minutely by people around you. If the leader is highly enthusiastic, the subordinates will also be enthusiastic. If the leader is lazy and slack while performing his duties, so will his subordinates. The same thought had been brought out in the Gita when Lord Krishna said, whatever standard the leader sets, others follow. So set high standards and make sure you follow them. एक second. Sorry for the interruption. So let's start. Where I am fucking where setting an example. Therefore, channel leaders are not follow. Huh. Huh. A leader's position is very critical and sensitive. Your subordinates do not just what you say, they follow your every actions. You are always observed minutely by people around you. If the leader is highly enthusiastic, the subordinates will also be enthusiastic. If the leader is lazy and slack while performing his duties, so will his subordinates. The same thought had been brought out in the Gita when Lord Krishna said, "Whatever standard the leader sets, others follow. So set high standards and make yourself sure you follow them yourself. And unforgivable mistakes. Always remember one thing: small mistakes are not small if committed by the people at the top. That is because such actions impact the entire organizations. Chanakya went to the extent of saying that if a common man commits a mistake, the punishment in one is 1 unit, like 1 year. But if the same mistake is committed by the leader, the punishment is 4 units. Oh shit! This is because if a leader makes mistakes, it is akin to the entire group making a mistake. Hence, a leader should think twice before taking any decision. A leader with a vision is the prime requirement of any good company, organization, or society. The next step is to transform his vision into reality. This happens through hard work and the ability to inspire others to pitch in and dedicate themselves to the eventual goal. And all this possible with self-discipline, work through problems. Swami Chinmanayan ji had once said, in any work, problems are unavoidable. It only ends when we are in the grave. Okay. Thus, life can be said be continuous series of problems. But you should remember that people become successful when they learn to handle these problems. Instead of allowing it to overpower them, it helps to move how problems are created. Chanakya offers some important information. Internal hindrance is hindrance by the chief. External is the hindrance caused by the enemies or forest tribes. All of us must have experienced such hindrances. Especially when we want to start something new, we should understand how these hindrances begin and how to avoid them. Chanakya said there are three kind of problem creators. The chief, quite often the boss himself become a problem creator. One experience of this is enough to make us hate our bosses, especially when they reject when we think is a good idea. But don't be discouraged. Inquire about the reason of the rejection and see if they are justified. If you are the boss yourself, then become an ideal leader by developing leadership qualities and understanding your workers. The enemies are our competitors. When we have to have a plan to execute, they almost immediately have a counter plan. This is apparent in the advertising industry, which goes to create extremes to prove that one's own client has a product that is much better than that of the competitor. But remember to respect your enemies as well. Even when at war, your actions should not run out of hatred or anger. This is because the best warfare strategies are devised by those who remain calm. The forest tribes. A firm normally encounters oppositions uh, from the local from the local groups while entering a new territory or market. Forest tribes is in the time of kings. Always remember that the particular oppositions arises even if you are doing something for the greater good. The insecurities of the people who already live there will create problems for you. So the first step is to win their confidence and ensure that it's a win-win situation for all. Respect and protect women. Bhishma, the warrior hero in the Mahabharata, had once advised Yudhishthira, a society that does not respect women will perish. It was this lack of respect towards the various sects that caused the two great wars in our Hindu epics. The 18-day battle in Mahabharata, after Draupadi was humiliated in front of all the men, and in Ramayana, the war like in Lanka, when Sita was kidnapped by the Ravana, even Chanakya refers to the priority that must be given to the women during a crisis. For from a dangerous situation, he should move away with effort after removing the women folk. In the other words, even when one has to run away from disaster or dangerous situations, he should do also. He should do so only after rescuing the woman. One may ask, where where is the need for such lessons when there is so much gender equality? Well, ask your own female friend and relatives whether they feel equals in society and if any harassment aimed at their gender has ended completely. Base your own decisions or on their answer. And if you believe a change in mindset is a must, read on to see how we can respect and protect women in our daily lives, in our workplaces. Today, the number of working women has increased in all areas, be it in the field of business, education, or civil services. All of us have to interact with women. Remember that men and women think differently. It's a basic psychological differences. When men and women work on a common project together, they bring in the different perspectives. Now, if you are the boss, see to the see to it to that there is a gender mix in every project. If you are an employee, inculcate not only respect towards women but also respectfulness to their point of view. In our homes, while a house is incomplete without a woman, the woman is our family also have the talents that need to be given wings. Identify their talents and give them freedom to explore their potential regardless of their of whether it's your daughter, wife, sister, or mother. As a nation, even though women have proved themselves in every field, we still have a long way to go. Just look at the number of females incapacitated infanticides. We still hear about the low percentage of girl literacy, the prevailing evil practice of dowry, etc. No social work can be complete till the women are empowered. We refer to our country as Mother India, but hardly allow her to have any daughters. Swami Vivekananda has rightly said, educate the girl child and the nation will awaken. Okay, 12 minutes left. Next chapter, don't forget your people. Never ever forget your people. Freedom fighters and soldiers fight to protect their countries, but when we finally become victorious, it's our duty and responsibility to free the prisoners of war, POW, who have been captured by the opponents. Chanakya had said the same thing. When grown in strength, he should bring out about the liberation of the hostage. In the case of Indian freedom struggle too, several members of the Indian Army, INA, Indian National Army, were held in prisons in the Andaman Islands. When we achieved freedom, they were rescued and also given awards and other national benefits. It was the right thing to do, especially after the country had become victorious in her struggle for freedom. Now, how do we practice this in our organization? Know each person and group. The head of each organization should be aware of those who fight for him. Keep track of the people who have been with you through the difficult times. Spend some time with them and their families too. You will be surprised to know of the sacrifices your employees and their families have to make sometimes. In the case of a large company or nation, the leader should keep track of groups of people who have fought for him or her, communities, local communities, religious leaders, etc. Freedom is a responsibility. After achieving the target, the leader should not think only about enjoying the resultant power. Instead, they must immediately meet with the people who fought for them. In communities too, when we have gone through a difficult phase like a financial setback or recession period, meet with those who have stayed committed and loyal. So when you rise in life, understand that the freedom brings new responsibilities. Also, if someone is held hostage or down with problems, immediately, immediately release them, solve their problems, stories to tell. Finally, never forget the most important task, making sure that the sacrifices made by your followers do not go unnoticed. Bring the heroes into the limelight and let them tell their stories. Document their struggles and let others get inspired. These heroes are the pillars of any situations and should be rewarded if any generation has to look back and it does not find any inspiring martyrs. They will take your hard earned success for granted. So ensure people know what it took to reach where you are now, and the best way to do this is to recognize those who help you become victorious. Passing the mantle, I was once conducting a sessions of for management students who were specializing in family managed businesses. The students were second or third generation businessmen who helped the course would help them take the business started by their parents and grandparents to the next level. This reminded me of a verse from Arthashastra. The kingdom continues in the successions of his sons and grandsons free from dangers caused by men. One of the basic aims of Chanakya was that every kingdom should continue from one generation to the other free from any danger. For this, he stressed the importance of good planning and training to make the inheritance of a kingdom foolproof. Foolproof. One extremely huge advantage of such an inheritance system is that the king gets to pass on the mantle on his own terms, choosing to make his exit before being booted out. Now, how do modern businessmen apply this thought to their own legacies? Train your children. The first and foremost task for any organization's founder is to acquaint the next generations with the firm system. There is simply no alternative to training. Our children is our own business. But at times it does not work well because the father may have very high expectations from his own children's in business, and children may take a lot of their parents' good advice for granted and ignore them. One solution adopted by many communities is to impart the requisite training to the children under the watchful eye of the founder brother. Thus, the child gets trained while the family retains controls over the business. Emphasize Emphasis on education. It's a fact that each generation has more opportunities for better educations than the previous generation, so seniors should capitalize on this and make it a point to educate every children by enrolling them in sorry, my bad, in the best course available. Education, even in business, should never treat it as an expense but an investment which will have very high returns in the future. Exit in time. Once you know your children are ready to take charge, make sure you exist from the business in time, live before you are kicked out by someone else. Now, this may not be easy for a person who has started the business from scratch, but there is no alternative to it. The best way to the best way is to give up power slowly and smoothly. Remember, even the most iconic businessmen like Bill Gates and Narayan Murthy excited before time, although their exit did not remain retirement, and all they did was change their role. And you can do that, changing your role from running the business or to mentoring it. You will be more valued and respected then. Competition, handling competition, how to handle the competition in the businesses. The days of monopoly are Over competition is in no longer can public sector units PSUs relax, nor can traders and middlemen think that their huge profit margins will continue for long with the world becoming a global village and technology reaching the remotest corner of each country. Competition has opened up like never before. Therefore, a new projects Therefore, as new projects are started, bigger brands are launched, and new markets are explored. A strategy to meet the challenges from the existing players or future competitors is needed. Hence, a carefully researched plan and calculated move is necessary in every field today. Kautilya helps us plan a strategy to handle competition. After ascertaining the relative strength or weakness of power, place, time, revolves in rear losses, expenses, gains, and troubles of himself and of the enemy, the conqueror should march ahead. Let's look at each of the aspects of the strategy which must be evaluated before making our move in the market, both from one's own viewpoint as also from the from that of the competitor's power. Power comes in various forms: knowledge, money, and also enthusiasms. Some of the most successful projects are the ones that are deeply studied and well researched. Remember, the foundations are important for the structure to last. Plus, the right place is very important. The place should be conducive from the product to sell. The right market should be found even for our carrying out experimental process. One cannot launch an agriculture based product in an urban shopping mall. The right place for it is in the rule segment. Time: every product has a season. Just hit at the right time. The cold drink companies will have their marketing strategy built around the summer season, while the paint industry will advertise just before the festival season. Revolts in the rear. Unknown to us, there are possibilities of being stabbed in the back. Our distributors, retailers in the market, as well as our very own stock can be targeted by our competitors to capture our market share. Loss: one should be aware of the losses that can happen in the process, not just financial, but also in time, materials, and efforts. Expenses: a budget should be worked out before the whole project is started. In most cases, the budget should up as the process commences. A buffer for extra and miscellaneous expenses should be considered. Gains or profits: how much is one finally going to get at the end of the whole exercise? A few projects could be one time projects with immediate gain, while the others could reap their foods in their long term. Troubles: a lot of troubles will crop up. The best way to avoid or reduce trouble is to be aware of the maximum possible problems that can arise and have a backup plan to solve them all. Only after taking all this into account should be one march ahead to conquer the market. Army and treasury. The first thing, okay, it's time, I think so. 29 seconds left. So just remember, power plays, time, revolts in the rear, losses, expenses, gains, troubles. So these are the things that you need to remember when handling competition. Okay. So yeah, next day we will learn about the army and treasury, protection from enemies, right opportunity, win-win policy, the winning weapon, the win the war, the win-win situations, the key to success, game theory. winning over friends and foes, respect your enemies, strategy and versus tactics before you attack, expect partners to come on. A safe retreat in the face of competition, acquiring a company, where to expand peace and war. This things this things we need to carry on. So that's it for today. So yeah, signing off. And the quote of the day is, at the end of the day, day got to end.